So, Cycle 5 Q&A from Discord. First question. Many of your game systems currently feel contradictory, as I was saying. How do you guys feel about trading alt accounts and solo gameplay? Binding systems, trade restrictions, efficiency restrictions, and difficulty of content plus lack of balance makes it very difficult to know what the plan is to give accurate feedback. Many players feel like there are too many restrictions to have a good time with each other or themselves. It is not clear what the planned goal is for player interaction for these systems. How are we supposed to play? It gets changed regularly whenever we find ways to enjoy it. And the devs replied, some game systems are not yet fully functional because certain elements are either bugged or haven't received their full upgrades. Here's an example to illustrate the point. Treasure chests are supposed to provide additional loot to support early, mid, and late game progression. This would naturally encourage more crafting and consequently faster character progression. However, due to an ongoing bug that has taken longer to resolve than expected, players have missed out on a significant influx of items without a consistent flow of resources. Players' ability to engage in crafting has been severely limited. This also reduces the value of epic resources from bosses as prepared for T3 crafting now requires an excessive amount of time and resources. Consequently, swapping gear or trying new builds has become more challenging, which negatively affects the gameplay flow and build experimentation. Since we fixed the chest system, hopefully in the next few days we plan to enable chest spawns in every mob camp to reintroduce loot drops to address these issues. Small note here, I hope the chat's actually gonna drop shit, because before it was pretty much cheese and candles and seeds and stuff like that. I'm really hoping for something better. This is just one example of the kinds of fixes we are working on to address gaps in the gameplay loop. Several key and critical tasks remain, and we are focused on resolving them to enhance the player experience and showcase the full potential of Corepunk's gameplay loop. The topics of trading, item binding, and solo play fall into the same category of complex tasks. They are not as simple as flipping a switch. For example, for trading to work correctly, the game systems needs to be fully integrated and interact seamlessly. Corepunk is designed as a game where trading and economy play a key role, which is evident in the way itemization is structured. Almost all resources in the game are intended to be freely traded. However, enabling item trading right now would create new problems. That's why we're focused on fixing critical issues first and polishing the existing gameplay. Once the core systems, including bosses, are functioning as intended, the game flow will become smooth and consistent. Only then can we release the next iteration of gameplay, which will significantly expand and deepen the game's functionality. What the fuck? Well, I understand the question from our friend there. Necromancer healer, good luck with that. It is a good question. But here's my question. So until a lot of the systems are bug-free, fully upgraded and integrated into the system, we can really see the loop of the game and play with it. So what do we do until then? I mean, like, they say they have to fix the chest, and they fix the chest as we've seen, and they're putting back in. But have we fixed the mini bosses, and are they actually working? And when that happens, do we get better resources? But not everything is tradable, and you know, there's still things missing. We still don't have the loop, and yet without those systems be fixed, we're still going to add more things into it. My question is this, though, before we move on to question number 2. My question is, why don't we have at least something finished? I mean, like, finish it, bring it out. It seems like we bring things out and then we change them 2, 3, 4, 5 times. I don't know. Question number 2, which is also a long one, which I think I need to open this somewhere bigger. What resulted in a sudden deterioration of communication with the player base from Corepunk official on Discord, and Will there be an improvement about this matter in the future? We had constant, almost daily updates on the game, and despite all the bugs, players at least felt some engagement and feedback from the core team. At the moment, patch notes are incomplete. There is zero communication from the core team since New Year's. There is zero explanation for the reasoning behind patch note updates. Game updates seems to be very out of content with the current state of the game and target very low priority features. There is no way to know beforehand about upcoming patch notes. After today's patch, players' base will have zero assurance of what can be expected in the upcoming patches. Most of the problems could be solved with a basic increase of engagement with the community, not through mods. And there is a list of people not very happy on Discord on that matter. Let's see what the devs said. We have not changed our approach to community interaction. We're sorry if it feels that way. When early access launches, the flood of issues and questions required more frequent communication, which is natural in such situations. As the critical problems were resolved and recurring issues became well known or addressed, the frequency of communication naturally decreased. However, when explanations or updates are necessary, we always provide them. When we don't have new or meaningful information to share, we focus deeply on development to return with good news. Our communication channel remains open, and we are happy to answer questions from the community. Weekly Q&A sessions are one way we stay connected, and we hope that are helpful to you. Additionally, we find communication through moderators to be highly effective. Moderators help us address bugs, exploits, critical community concerns, and player feedback efficiently. Their role allows us to stay connected with the pulse of the community and respond promptly to pressing issues. We also launched a Discord channel where we occasionally share drafts and updates ongoing development tasks. While patch notes may not always be as detailed as players would like, we are improving in the area and aim to make them more comprehensive soon. Okay, I mean, the communication was never good. It went a little bit better, then it went back down to quiet. So on this one, I will just stay with the fact that if they don't have something meaningful to tell us, they just don't. I mean, we're always going to have questions. Question number 3. Can we do anything in the near term for the current endgame that is Vento Roulette? Running around town with alts and skulls in the bank in order to pick the item kit basket rerolls isn't fun or engaging. The concept of checking NPCs periodically for new items has intended as a small, fun addition to the overall gameplay experience. It was never designed to be a core mechanic. However, this has become more prominent due to loot imbalances, which we are working to fix in the near future. Additionally, certain exploits related to these NPC shops have motivated players to spend more time there. While we cannot prevent players from frequently visiting NPC shops, we can enhance other aspects of the game to provide more rewarding alternatives. Fair question. However, I mean, this thing was only happened because they removed the drop of the kits from the bosses, so people had no other way of finding it. But at the same time, I think it provided me with a lot of data on how, jumping layers, NPCs, frequencies, amounts, all this kind of thing. So probably going to fix this in the near future. Question number 4. Considering you nerfed boss drops and quest rewards, further stifling any sort of progression, is this game meant to be a gathering simulator? As mentioned in the earlier response, the primary path for solo players to progress in terms of gear currently relies on gathering resources and crafting. However, since some systems remain incomplete, resource allocation often depends on gathering professions. Ideally, solo players should have other ways to farm items, such as defeating mob camps, which could provide a steady stream of crafting materials or items for trade. This would significantly expedite crafting progression and allow players to assemble their gear faster. However, the current limitation on trading, largely due to a non-functional chat system, hinders this process. Without an effective trading system, it is challenging to implement features that would expand item exchange opportunities. To summarize, Corepunk is not a resource gathering simulator, but it does offer significant gameplay in that area. The game will soon receive new content and deeper gameplay systems. We hope to solve the bugs mentioned above in the coming days. Okay, so the thing I was saying a bit earlier, that you can kill a boss and get a drop, you can compare that drop to the crafting. It seems like that's not how this is going to work, because they say here, for the solo player, we'll have a way to farm items, such as defeating mob camps, which provide steady stream of crafting materials or items to trade. So it looks like whatever you kill, if you don't like crafting, you're just going to get the mats. So basically you're going to skip the farming, like go and cut the tree, you're going to open a chest or kill a mob, is going to drop that for you or from the box. That's what I understand. But yeah, I mean, at the moment you do need a lot of mats. There's no other way because of the lack of systems. But this is something they've been working on. Question number 5 from Cycle 5. Will there be an option to create epic materials in synthesis for lower tiers? We've considered introducing such recipes to the synthesis machine, and the idea continues to resurface. Many of these recipes are nearly ready for implementation. However, we are unsure how they will affect the endgame economy. We plan to revisit this idea after the auction house release is scheduled for the second quarter of this year. Once the auction house is live, we'll have clearer understanding of whether these recipes will benefit the game or harm its economy. Well, a second quarter. I think they're very optimistic for that. Question number 6. Will there be an additional option to combine catalysts in the synthesis? We're also working on recipes involving catalysts, which will be a part of the upcoming content update. Alongside catalyst combinations, there will be other exciting options introduced. Well, it is a fact, a lot of people, after finishing the characters, that keep getting the catalysts and they just get overflown. They have too many. So making them part of some sort of a consumable wouldn't be too bad. Question number 7. Are you planning to create an alternative layout of the health and skill bar so that the bottom of the screen is more visible? Yeah, that's a bit of a problem. You have more visibility on the top than the bottom. Initially, we assumed that the free camera feature would negate issues with the lower part of the screen being obstructed. However, now we see that convenient solutions in this area are necessary. The first improvement we'll implement is an option to adjust the interface scale via settings. Other UI variations will be introduced later. They have already done this. Question number 8. Are you going to put the boss back in as before? Much harder and with better loot? It would be nice to have both for casual and hardcore players. Work on bosses is ongoing. We are polishing their mechanics to make encounters more tactile, visually engaging, and fun. Additionally, mechanics are being added to existing bosses. We expect boss fights to become significantly more enjoyable and rewarding in the coming month. You will also encounter these bosses in the solo and party dungeons we plan to release. This content is tailored for hardcore players who prefer to face bosses in their more challenging and mechanic complex versions, as well as casual players who prefer easier to defeat versions of bosses. So we'll have difficulties on the dungeons then. Okay. We just have to wait a little bit. Question number 9. When do you plan to fix the skin system? Because at the moment we have to buy again the skin we have in order to upgrade it in the synthesis. I realize this not prior, but quality of life is needed. We are looking on a solution for skins that will allow players to take a discover skin from their collection, place it in their inventory, upgrade it, and then return it to the skin library. Okay, this is a cosmetic thing. A lot of people, what happens is, if you want to have a full set of a skin, you have to buy it or find it, and then you have to keep it in your inventory, then upgrade it to whatever level you want, and when it's fully upgraded, then you put it into your library. If you put it in your library, it stays normal. You can't pull it out, and that's the problem. So they're going to work on that. I don't think you have to pull it out of your library. You can just have an upgrade item and just, utilize it, and then you can upgrade it directly into your library. Question number 10. Can we get an ETA on T3 weapons and chips release? Tier 3 weapons and chips will be released with the upcoming content update alongside the next iteration of gameplay systems, which include updates to professions and progression mechanics. So it's on this one, coming this week or next week. Also on cycle 5, which ended on the 12th of January, they answered some bonus questions from the previous cycle. They keep doing that, so we get more questions answered. Will the stack size of things such as consumables and gatherables ever be increased? Even with almost all the bank tabs unlocked, storage space is a huge issue, as I was saying earlier. While we plan to improve the inventory system, this will come later. First, we want to observe how players interact with fully functional systems, including resources and item turnover, before identifying key bottlenecks and determining the best solutions. Oh god, this is going to take a while. And with the new influx from the chess camps, the chess from the camps, we're going to need more space than they. I hope they're going to put this a little bit in front of the line for fixing. Bonus question number 2. In terms of raids, what design will you follow? Open world raid bosses, instance raids, open zones that have the layout of a raid? Although full raid content is planned for the game's final release, world raid bosses in open locations are already in development. Raids will take place in closed instant locations. The first raids will be set in the Valley of Sins and tied to the lore of the Lightbearers and their bloody battle to hold the Bastion. Okay. Bonus questions continue from cycle 4. How you prevent exit camping in the PvP island? Oh, that is what you're talking about, Dutch. Here's the question. How you prevent exit camping in the PvP island? The extraction dungeon prison island features multiple exits, each with different conditions. Not all exits can be easily controlled, especially without precise knowledge of enemy locations. Additionally, what appears to be prey may turn into a hidden predator. Yeah, alright. Bonus question from cycle 4, number 2. Please explain the extraction zone in more detail. Your previous response is very vague. How do you avoid PvP exactly? You can't even avoid in most of the zones right now, and you keep making it easier for griefers with higher level equipment to gang people by nerfing the karma system over and over again. It seems to be play how you want, but only if you like PvP right now and in the foreseeable future. All right, this has been answered on the newsletter on the 28th of January, but we're doing questions a little bit further back here. The dev said, when entering the island, players or parties will spawn randomly at designated points. From there, they can plan a route to key areas with valuable loot and farming opportunities. Tactical knowledge of safe and dangerous paths, as well as efficient use of the environment and available tools will provide a significant advantage. The exits are always open, allowing players to leave with their loot at any time, provided they reach the exit. While some restrictions prevent overly quick exits, the option is always available. Players who wish to avoid PvP can build their characters for such a playstyle using appropriate gear and tools like wards for constant vision, tactical movement, proper use of layout, and strategic positioning can help players outplay PvP-focused opponents. Even in encounters with other players, escape is often possible if tools and abilities are used wisely. So this is a bonus question from cycle 4, but 10 days after this was posted, and today that we're doing this review, the PvP island now is split on 100% PvP instance and 100% PvE instance. So the whole avoid with strategy is kind of like, I mean, why would you go in a PvP island to do PvE when there's a full PvE instance now? Of course, this question is 10 days back, but I'm just mentioning this because on the stream we're doing this live, I was wondering how that's going to work, and they had to split the island into different instances. Cycle 4, bonus question number 3. In the past, I followed the Corepunk forum about 5 years ago. There was discussion about professions like hitmen who will kill marked targets or vigilantes who hand down murderers. Social professions, including bounty hunter, serif, and artisan, are some of the most anticipated content. We are eager to implement them, but this will happen closer to the game's full release. The game design for those professions is already complete and ready for deployment. I'm still alive for Corepunk? Yes, of course. Cycle 4, bonus question 4. When are you going to have a good support customer service department? As of today, there is still players completely fractured because they have no solution to some of the problems listed below. They cannot change the passwords, they cannot access their account. Sorry, I'm not going to read all that, but yeah, okay. Player support is an ongoing effort involving both support staff and technical teams. While we may not always resolve every issue immediately, rest assured that a significant portion of our team is dedicated to addressing players' concerns and improving support services. Ooh. And last question, bonus question from Cycle 4. Are you going to implement a pet system in the game? People like pets even if they're just aesthetic, and they like them much more if they include certain important functionalities such as auto loot of items. I'm referring to those objects that fall on the ground and belong to the user from farming, chests, PvP, mobs, etc. Many MMOs have pet implemented this way. If yes, the player should only see his own pet to save resources. The pet should not be seen in any PvP content to free up resources. In PvP, if there's loot available, the auto loot function should continue to work despite of seeing the pets. No. In PvP, you should click. You don't kill, pick up automatically, and you run. Come on. We appreciate the suggestion regarding pets. Pets would fit beautifully into Corepunk world, offering endless possibilities for creativity. While they are not part of the core gameplay, we'll aim to include them in the pipeline within the year, before the full release. They're adding a lot of things before the full release. These were the questions and answers from the devs from Cycle 5, which started on the 8th of January and ended on the 12th of January.